Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. We have a big storm blowing in tonight. We're supposed to get 20 centimeters or almost 4 inches of snow. Let's go outside and see what it's looking like. Well, the snow is definitely coming down. It's extremely windy out here too. There's a look at the house. So I moved the truck today. We are going to look at a car tomorrow for Julian. Here's a look in the backyard. You can hear the wind blowing. It's pretty intense out here. And it's going to get worse. The temperature is also dropping. It was close to freezing today, and it's going way cold now. Let's head into the greenhouse here. I've got the heater on in the greenhouse here. It is, it's about 7 degrees Celsius in here. Yeah, so the temperature is really dropping tonight. So today I moved all my deciduous trees into the glass greenhouse here where it's heated. The floor is like right full down here with trees. I moved my small leaf linden in because it's supposed to get really cold out. And the poly house isn't heated, so I thought I better protect my more sensitive trees. All the native hardies are still in the poly house, but yeah, I thought I better bring in, you know, all my small seedlings and stuff and keep them protected for this cold spell. Let's head back outside now. Wow. Yeah, it's really storming. Yeah, so tomorrow we're heading to Toronto if the weather's good, and we're going to look at a Fiat Abarth for Julian, his first car. Kind of an exciting car, so we're going to go look at that as long as this storm ends or stops. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be driving tonight. It is not very nice out. You can see out here on the street, you can't see very far. The street lights are on. It's been several hours since I first showed you the storm, so let's go outside and see what it's looking like now. Well, there's certainly more snow on the truck, that's for sure. Wow, look at that snow. Yeah, it's really snowing. Well, let's head into the backyard now and see what that's looking like. Everything's looking very white. Wow. Is that ever amazing? Look at it. Look at the trees. Wow, it's a winter wonderland for sure. Look at it. That is just amazing out here. I see bunny tracks in the snow here. Wow. Bit of weight on those trees. Yeah. So the storm continues. So outside here you can see on the white pine tree here how the snow weighs down the branches. And any branches that get too thick and heavy, they break off with the snow. So I've got to clear the snow off the roof of the poly house. It's getting kind of thick here. So I'll just bang all that snow off. It's quite bright outside, you know, considering it's in the middle of a storm. So listen to that wind. It's an amazing sight. It's gone very quiet now. Just amazing. All right, I'll get to work now, cleaning off the poly house. I've got the poly house cleaned off, so you can see inside now. It's a little brighter. It was dark before. It was covered in snow. Yeah, so all the trees are safe out of the wind in here. The storm is supposed to end later tonight. So I'll do the driveway and everything tonight. And that should make it a little easier for tomorrow morning, cleaning up all the snow. It's going to be a big job, I think. So I'll try and get one more storm update tonight before I go to bed, and we'll see how much snow we've gotten. So this car, the truck, was cleaned off today. You can see it's got a good deep layer of snow on it already. So there's the spot at the end of the driveway for the new car if we decide to get it. That'll be exciting for Julian. All right, back inside I go. Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is the next day now after the big storm. So last night we got all that snow and then it turned to rain and now it's gotten really cold. We're going to a low of minus 12 degrees Celsius tonight, and then the next day it goes down to minus 19 degrees Celsius. So cold weather coming. So today I'm going to be working on a tropical tree, which is a bit unusual on this day, but that is what is going to be worked on today. I brought the tree out to the greenhouse here in a plastic bag to keep it warm. So let's have a look at the tree I'll be working on today, the unveiling. And this is a new tree to the bonsai zone. Not a new species, but a new tree. So here it is. It is a Moreton Bay Ficus. This Moreton Bay Ficus is another one of Florence's trees. She gave a lot of her trees away to the Toronto Bonsai Society. And at the last meeting, there was a free table. And I really like this tree because it's got the vertical trunk, and I like vertical trunks. And I asked around. I already have one of Florence's Moreton Bay Ficus that I worked on fairly recently. And I saw this one, and I really liked the tree. And I asked around. I said, does anyone want it? If they do, take it. Otherwise, I would take it home with me. So at the end of the evening, I ended up bringing this tree home. So thank you very much, Florence. You'll be able to see updates of this tree far into the future on the channel. Do I need another Moreton Bay Ficus in my collection? Another tropical tree to stuff into the plant room? Probably not, but it is an Australian native and I like having trees from all over the world. And I don't have a whole lot of native Australian trees, so this is added to the collection, and I'm also Australian, so it's kind of nice to have a tree from Australia. One of the charms of the full-size Moreton Bay Ficus in nature is they get these fantastic buttressed roots. And I think they're a fairly large leaf tree, so as far as bonsai, you need to grow them to a medium to a large size to kind of make the leaves look closer to in scale with the rest of the tree. I will show you some photos of Moreton Bay Ficus And you'll see that beautiful root structure, and they're just a really cool tree. You can see from the photos what a beautiful tree they are, and I'm going to try and get those same characteristics in my bonsai. So today I'm going to be repotting the tree, getting that root base underway to try and get those nice buttressed roots. Should be quite exciting developing this into the future. The tree is planted in a terracotta pot, and I think the pot is a perfect size for it. There's lots of room for the roots to grow in a nice radial pattern. So I'm going to be doing the root work, trying to establish that radial root base today. So the first step is to get the tree out of the pot. I'm ready to get the tree out of the pot. There is some wire on the surface here. I'll just untie. Like that. And I don't know if it's coming. Yeah, there's a loop of wire underneath, so I'll have to try and pull that through first. So I will get my pliers here, grab the wire, and try and pull it through the drainage hole. Interesting putting the drainage hole on the bottom like this. I'm thinking maybe that's a good solution. That way the roots don't get tangled in the drainage holes or the drainage screen. So it's not coming out very easily. So I will have to try, see if the tree comes out of the pot. It seems to be. It's still held in with the wire, but there it goes. The wire just came through the drainage hole. So all is going well so far. I'll get out the root rake right here and start raking away the soil just to see what kind of root base this tree has. It's quite cool in the greenhouse here today, so I might have to stop every now and then and turn the heater on, which is quite loud, just to keep the temperature up in the greenhouse. Right now it's 8 degrees in here, 8 degrees Celsius, so not very tropical. So I think this tree will be glad to get back into the plant room after it's repotting. I'll keep it warm, well watered. The other tree did really well after its repotting. It's growing now. It recovered really nicely from the root pruning, which is a good sign that it's doing well. And I'll try and show you an update of that tree at the end of this video, just so you can see what it's looking like today. So I'm seeing some good roots in here. I'm going to try and get that wire out now. There it is. And there's another piece of wire over here. I think the wire broke in half. I just noticed there was a walnut in the soil, so Florence must have squirrels too, burying their nuts in the soil. So I'll continue raking away the old soil. I want to bare root it so I can see what's there and then decide what I'm going to prune and what I'm going to keep. And the goal is to get that beautiful radial root base on the tree. There's another piece of wire in the soil there. So the root system's looking good and healthy. You can see the nice kind of orangey tan color on the roots. There's no foul smell or anything. It was in good soil, like really good soil. There's a bit of the old nursery soil left around the base of the tree here that I'm going to try and get out. It's looking good. I'm seeing some good roots in here. So I'm just getting all this old soil out. And I'll replace it with my fresh batch of bonsai soil that I mixed up. And the soil is warming up here in the greenhouse, so it's a reasonable temperature even though it's quite cold in here today. I'm feeling the cold today. Yeah, so that was a pretty wild storm we had last night. And today is still pretty wild outside. And the temperature's dropping now. So I topped up all my rain barrels. So everyone's full. I've got the 2 in the basement, the 1 in the plant room, the 1 out here in the greenhouse, and I drained the cube last night. And just so it wouldn't freeze over the winter. So I should have enough water, and I can, top them up the next time we get a thaw, which could be who knows when. Usually, sometime in the winter you get a thaw, but not always. I've had it where, it's gone through January, February, all below freezing, never getting above freezing. Okay, so I'm making good progress here. I pretty well got it bare rooted. It's looking really good. Okay. I think that's as good as I can get it. It's just all wood now. So there's a look at the root system. It's got some good stuff happening. So I'll clean this up, my tray here, and then we will come back and start the root pruning. Here is the root system of the tree, and it has some, fairly high aerial roots. And then I would say, the base of the tree is down here. So I have to decide, do I want to keep these aerial roots or do I want to prune them away? They could be developed into big flared root base or big flared kind of roots. But I think today I want to reduce it back down to this level, to keep this as the trunk and then develop the radial roots coming out lower down. I don't think I can use these roots. I think they're too high on the trunk. This one is getting very thick, and it'd be, if it keeps growing, it'll be out of proportion with the trunk. I think the step today, the first step, is to get it down to a trunk line and a radial root base. So with that in mind, I'm going to begin the pruning, and I'm going to remove these upper radial roots. So I'll begin with this one, taking that off. And then I'll also do this one that's lower down here. Like that, and this one. This one, I don't know if this root's alive. I did no, it's not. I'm going to take that one off. It was a dead root. This one, you can see if my trunk line's down here, it's still quite high, so I'm going to remove that one also. And I don't know if that one's alive either. It's kind of high up. This one can go. This one can go. And then I've got this big root here, so that has to be removed. It's just too thick. So I will remove it. I'll use my ratcheting pruners that Tom sent me, and I'll come in and try and get a fairly flush cut here. So here I go. So, like that. So that's a pretty good cut. I can nibble away just a little bit of it on this side, but it's quite flush. Like that. So that's really good and clean now. So you can see, I've gained a lot of trunk. So next, you can see there's this big root on the bottom here, and there's a big one off to this side. So my goal is to get a nice radial root base with evenly balanced roots. So I think my first step on this thick root is to take it off right here. Kind of keeping the flared part, but reducing it down to the kind of flat root plane. So here I go. Big cut coming up on the root system. Like that. So that root's gone, and you can see the big scar underneath. The next one is this root over here, and the same thing. I'm going to keep the best parts of it, which isn't much, and prune away the rest. So here I go. I don't know if I got in deep enough there. I might have to come in a little bit more. It's almost through. Quite severe root surgery here. There. So that root is removed, and you can see two big cuts on the bottom. And, I have some more roots. I don't know if all of them are alive. Certainly some of them are. So the next step is to shorten all these kind of radial roots that I'm left with. So I will get my pruners, and I'll prune them off fairly short. And I may do some selection also. There's one growing straight out the bottom I'll get rid of. This one's kind of going a crazy direction here. I'll get rid of that. Shorten. There's one growing up here. I'll get rid of that one. There's one on the bottom I can get rid of that's going a funny direction. And I think that is about it. Pretty severe. Basically, again, planting it as more of a cutting. So I don't know how much of this upper root system's alive here. I would rather the roots down lower. So I think I'm going to prune some of these off. I think they're just too high. Like that. Even this one's too high. I'm going to get rid of that one too. And there's one here that's wrapping around the trunk that I don't know if I can straighten it or if I should just get rid of it. There's two roots growing directly above each other here, so I think I'm going to get rid of that one. Like that. And this one's going a funny direction too. Get rid of that one. Yeah, so there's not much left, is there? This one's going a funny direction too. We'll get rid of that one. Okay, and I'll prune this funny tip off this one. Like that. Oh my goodness, taking it down, that's for sure. Okay, well, that's about as much as I can reduce that root system. That is down to a radial root base for sure. So the next step is to plant the tree. There's a lot of kind of buildup around the pot, so I'm going to clean the pot up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll just get, most of this calcium or lime or whatever it's built up there. It could be fertilizer. Okay, that's looking much better. Nice clean pot for the tree to go in. Okay, so I'll get a drainage screen in the bottom. I'll use the same one, it's fine. And I'll fill it up with a base layer of soil. Alright, here I go with the soil. 1 scoop. 2 scoops. I think that's good. And then I'll plant the tree. So there's not many roots to sort out. I think everything's looking good. So I think this is a good height for the tree. I want it the roots to grow in the soil. I think that's a good height, so I will fill it in around the tree. I want to make sure those roots are safely in the soil, but I don't want, it planted so deep that I get more roots coming off of the trunk. So I just need a little bit more soil. I planted the tree in the middle of the pot to get the radial roots growing evenly. I'm not really concerned about the front of the tree at the moment, but I just want it vertical. I think the tree will be very happy once it starts to recover. Which usually on a ficus doesn't take too long. They seem to, start stabilizing in the first kind of week, and then weeks 2 and 3 they start to actually grow, if all goes well. So the reason I can do this kind of root work, or I hope I can do this kind of root work in the winter, is that it's going into the plant room where it's warm and humid. I keep the tree misted like 5 or 6 times a day. And yeah, usually, you give them the perfect environment to grow roots and good soil, good watering, misting, and usually they recover quite quickly and then start to grow really strongly. Here's an overall look at the tree. So this is either the start of a good ficus or the end of a good ficus. So, good aftercare should get this tree underway. Or, things could go bad. And usually with these ficus in the plant room, they recover very quickly. So that's what I'm hoping for. I've got some stones from the plant room. They're nice and warm. They feel good. So I'll put those around the tree just to support it until the new root system starts to grow. So I'll put one back here. And I've got one more that I can put up against the trunk here. So that should hold the tree in place. I will have to put a bag over it and bring it back into the plant room. I'm not going to water the tree yet. I'm going to wait until I get it into the plant room and use the nice warm water in there. The water out here is the same as the air temperature, which is now at around 6 degrees Celsius. Or 6 degrees above freezing, so it's quite cool out here. So that is the tree. It's, I think it's off to a good start. I just hope it makes it, and I think it will. I think it'll do fine. I'll bag the tree up now and move it to the plant room, and then I'll show you an update of the other Moreton Bay Ficus that I did a similar operation to. Alright, I'll get the bag on the tree now. So, get that wrapped around it like that. And I'll make sure I get it around the bottom of the pot so I don't get any of that cold winter air to the tree at all. Oh, I'm caught up here. There we go. Yeah, so I'll wrap it up around the bottom here. And it should be fine. Alright, so let's head into the plant room now. So after the big storm, the weather hasn't really improved very much. It's still really windy and cold outside, and it's been snowing all day. I'm in the plant room now. I had to bag the camera, bring it into the plant room and let it warm up, otherwise it all fogs up. So here is the Moreton Bay Ficus over on the bench now. It's in a good spot. There's a grow light right above, and there's another one over here. So it gets good light here. So it's time to give it its first watering. So here I go. All right, here goes its first watering in the new soil with the roots all cut off. So I'll just water it a bit now. Let that kind of soak in a bit, and I'll water it a couple of more times tonight. So that should do. So we'll see. Right now the temperature in here is 26 degrees Celsius, and what's the humidity? It just changed. 72% relative humidity. So quite nice in here. So here is the other Moreton Bay Ficus. You can see it here. So all the tips are growing now. I have one new leaf out that looks really healthy. So it's doing really well. I've got the Jurassic Park Jeep beside it because these trees are featured in Jurassic Park, which is cool. While I'm in the plant room here, I'll give you some updates to some of the other trees that I've worked on recently. Let's start over here with the Repotting temple. So you can see the trees are growing really well. The one that's directly under the light has very small kind of yellowish leaves. That's because I think the light is too intense for it. The ones that are growing kind of on the edges look really, really good. And they're growing really strongly. Here's a look at the roots now. So you can see all the roots. The root tips look good. It's growing a lot of roots around the temple. And there's a lot of roots coming, you know, off of the tree, hugging the temple, gripping it. So pretty cool. All the trees are doing well. All the roots are doing well. That escape root has touched the ground now down here. I'll try and show you that. So here is a look at the escape roots, and you can see it's touched the ground down here. Yeah, pretty amazing. The other escape root over here has kind of branched out, and it hasn't hit the ground yet. So it's still in development. There's another one that's starting to hang down here. Yeah, they really, really grow roots. And this is a good environment for them to grow roots in. It's nice and warm and humid. So that's the update to the Repotting temple. So this tree, I'm going to let it grow until spring. It might get quite vigorous and quite bushy. If I have to prune it back, maybe I will before it goes outside for spring. But if I can let it grow, I will. The only reason I'd prune it is if it's starting to grow over top of the other trees and shading them out. Beside the Repotting temple is my powder puff tree. It's really grown in well. It's looking really good. Here's my two little leaf ficus. I repotted that and pruned it up recently, and you can see all the new growth on it. It's looking quite good. The Frankenficus, well, it's really growing well up top. You can see all the new growth on it. The branches are growing well, and it's getting lots of back budding all over the tree now. So awesome, doing well. My root over temple ficus here, it's getting quite a dense canopy on it, all kinds of new growth. It's looking really good. Over here I have my kapok trees. So the cuttings seem to be doing well. They must have rooted. The main tree is starting to branch out once again. It's got a lot of new growth coming on it. So it survived that severe root pruning I did to it, which is good. My Caboo Island Penjing, the main tree seems to be growing well. I did prune off this one branch here to a stump, and there's no new growth on it yet. I'm hoping that comes in the future. But the tree looks good. The cutting I planted in the wet sand here is still looking really healthy, so I think that's rooted also. So that could become part of this, island planting eventually. I did notice on my Socotra Island Desert Rose planting that the one tree at the back here, the trunk has gone soft on it, so it's died. All the others look healthy. There's 1, 2, 3 left. No, 4. There's one at the back. They all look good. The trunks are nice and firm. So I don't know why that one died. I haven't been watering it. And I'm thinking maybe the humidity level is just too high in the plant room here. And it just, I don't know, it just died. My Ficus microcarpa here, the one that looks a bit like an elephant, it's recovered and growing really strongly up top now. So that's awesome. There's my new Melaleuca behind it there. I'll be working on that in the future. My bloodwood tree here continues to grow really well. It's sending out all kinds of new shoots now. It's not in the perfect location here, but it's growing really, really well. That one also got a severe root pruning. So those rocks I used on my Moreton Bay Ficus, I got from here. So it's just has the one rock now, and I'm sure I could take that rock away now. It's rooted. Back in the corner here, I mentioned in another video that my Premna wasn't doing very well, that it had lost all its leaves, and now it's starting to grow in, and it looks really, really healthy. That's it in the back corner there. So that's good. I think it was just adjusting to the plant room. Pretty well everything is doing well in the plant room. There's just a few exceptions. You can see it's getting dark outside now. It's still stormy, holy. The wind's just howling out there, blowing up all the snow. Look at that, oh my goodness. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be out in that weather. My second Moreton Bay Ficus is planted. I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'll try and take really good care of it, and hopefully it'll start growing and I'll get a nice radial root system. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.